All right, it looks like we are up and going. We are live. This is our first Washington REIA meeting in 19 years that we are totally online. So I'm really excited. Also a little nervous. Hope all this goes well with everyone. We are going live on our Facebook page and also our YouTube channel. You can find that with Profitable Property. This is how all this is going to work. We did some pre-recording of some segments, our kind of our general, our usual Washington REIA meeting. We did that obviously because we didn't want any glitches and people kind of cutting out and so forth. So I hope you enjoy that. We will be here live with you. So if you have any comments or questions during the presentation, feel free to submit those through, again, our YouTube channel or Facebook Live. I'll be happy to answer those. And then after this is concluded too, in about 45 minutes or so, I will be here. More than happy to talk with you online. I'll be live with any of your questions and comments. So I hope everyone is doing okay, kind of social distancing, if you will. But we're excited about this. I've been wanting to do this for quite a long time, so a great opportunity for us to kind of connect on social media here. And I hope you enjoy this. Spent a lot of time thinking about this. Talked to a lot of different people in my world, in my network. And I look forward to helping you and working with you. So again, let me know if I can help you. There's a lot of information here in these videos. So kind of digest it, shoot me back some questions, and we'll see how all this works and how we can kind of walk through this time together. So we're going to go live now. Hope you enjoy it. Again, questions and comments on Facebook Live and our YouTube channel, Profitable Property. And again, after this concludes, I will be on live answering any of your questions or any of your comments that you might have after our video presentation. So thanks again for joining me, and I look forward to working with you here over the course of the evening. Hello, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I want to start out by focusing on the deal of the month. Now, I'm sitting here in a kitchen in a house in Calverton, Maryland. We are renovating this house. We're almost done. We're making great progress, and we hope to have this done here shortly and put on the market. But this is not our deal of the month. I want to highlight what I call a hybrid wholesale deal. This took place last year. We had bought a property in Brooklyn, neighborhood in Washington, D.C., in Northeast Washington, D.C. The property was purchased from an estate. We paid in the high 200s for it. The reason that we bought the property, our intent, in other words, to make money, was to go ahead and renovate the property and resell it to the open market. A typical buy, renovate, and sell deal. And this property was, again, typical of Washington, D.C. that you see over and over if you're out looking for properties. It was a 3-level end unit row house that needed extensive work. And it was going to turn out typically like many houses in Washington, where you kind of blow out the middle floor, you kind of make an open concept, if you will. We are going to add a bedroom and a bathroom downstairs, and we are going to have a nice 4-bedroom, 3-bath row house that we were going to market to potential homeowners. Well, I went ahead and I closed on the property. I was beginning the process of going and getting permits, applying for permits to do the work. And during that time, that gap time, I ran into an investor I haven't seen in a little while, and we kind of got together, had some coffee, and kind of talked about our businesses. And he mentioned that he recently just sold a property to a 2 or 3K buyer. Now, what that means is that a buyer out looking for a property that needs work, there's a loan product called a 2 or 3K, where they can buy the house, they can get money for renovation, and then they refinance that money and they live in the house. Well, this sounded very attractive to me, and I thought about this property I had in Brooklyn. I couldn't start the work yet, so I started networking through our database. Again, remember, database is important. You always want to network and add to that database so you can go to that database when you need to. And I started identifying a few realtors in that database that I thought might have a buyer with a 2 or 3K loan, and I started marketing this property toward that. Well, we found someone, they looked at the property, they loved it, they knew they could do the work, and it could be specified to what their family wanted. Because remember, they're going to be living in this property for many years to come. We negotiated a very fair price, and we went to closing. Well, folks, this was a win-win for everyone. They got a property that they really liked. They got it at an affordable price. They got it for the ability that they can do the renovation to their specifications. I made a very healthy profit. As you can see, I made $60,000+ on this unit. Now, again, folks, if I went ahead with the complete renovation, I certainly probably, most likely, you never know. We know that now in these times, that I probably could have made significantly more than $60,000. And I would have deserved it from the standpoint of it would have taken me much longer. We would have had much more capital into the deal, and I would have made a profit. But sometimes you don't want to be greedy. You want to take what's on the table and you want to move on. So this is kind of a hybrid wholesale deal, if you will. And it's important, especially in these times, folks, when you're out looking for properties, to have different exit strategies. If you have multiple exit strategies, there's always a way that you can make a profit. So I hope this kind of explanation helps you. Remember, if you need help in any of these areas of these properties, we can learn a lot from our properties. Right in this property, we can learn about wholesaling. We can learn about 2 or 3K loans. We can learn about databases. We can learn about networking. We can learn about financing. There's so many areas when we do properties that we can learn from. If I can help you in any of these ways, literally, folks, just text me, just email me, put the word consulting on top, and I'd be happy to see how we can help you move your business forward. And finally, on a deal like this, one of the pillars of Washington WREIA is belief system. Folks, it's very important, especially in these times, that we have a strong belief that this business is ongoing, that money is being made. Now, granted, this deal was last year, but again, I'm sitting in a property right now that we're getting ready to finish, that we're going to market. There's business going on. So please continue to work hard and to continue to identify leads and continue to identify properties that you can make profit on. I thank you for joining me today. And finally, if you have a deal for our deal of the month, please feel free to submit it to me. I would love to highlight one of your deals. It can be anything. It can be a long-term rental. It can be a buy, renovate, sell. It can be a wholesale deal. It can be a note deal. It can be anything in between. It can be a great listing that you had that went really well. Or on the flip side, if you want to submit something that didn't go very well, maybe you didn't make exactly what you thought, maybe there was a surprise in the property. Folks, we like to highlight those too, because that's the real world. And I'll highlight certainly 1 or 2 of my properties that we didn't make as much as we thought. And in one case, we actually lost money. So it does happen. And we need to learn from those mistakes, and we need to make sure that we're moving forward. Thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to a great night of Washington WREIA. I'm here with Gary McKeithen, and Gary, I see that you're wearing your Pitt T-shirt. It makes me sad because we're in the middle of March Madness with no March Madness. So I'm like a lot of other people having sport withdrawal, but obviously there's more important things going on in our community and certainly in our country. But anyways, thank you for joining me. As many of you know, we've been highlighting a WREIA member the past few months, and this month I have Gary McKeithen. I've known Gary for many, many years, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself. And we have a few questions for Gary that we wanted to answer. So first, Gary, I've already said your name, Gary McKeithen. How about giving folks just a little bit of background, maybe a little bit about family or your real estate experience, whatever you want to tell them.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, first of all, John. And then, like you said, I'm having sports withdrawal too. March Madness is like March Sadness, but
Right.
so about me, I am actually in real life, I'm a DC firefighter, and I've been a firefighter now for over 29 years, and looking to actually retire this December with 30 years.
Okay. All right.
I'm married. I've been married. This year be 22 years. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and we also have a 1.5-year-old dog.
What gives you more? What gives you more lip? Your 16-year-old daughter or the 1.5-year-old dog?
Actually, neither one. They both pretty cool.
All right. Okay.
They're both pretty cool. So far. Stay tuned. Okay. As far as real estate investing, I got involved in 2002, and actually at the firehouse. Well, in DC, I lived in Deanwood, and on my block, I noticed there was a few houses that were abandoned that people have fixed up and renovated. And at the firehouse, we were talking about possibly getting a group together and pooling money to dabble and invest in. The funny thing was the very next day on the way home, I turned on the radio at 12 noon and I heard the radio show that you used to have on WOL.
Uh-huh.
And I said, that's interesting that this is exactly what I've been looking for. And actually, I don't know if I'm sure you probably remember, that was a long time ago. I called in and just made light of the fact that I said, hey, I'm interested, but I know nothing about renovations and all that. And you said, don't worry, we'll show you how to do that. The very next day, you had a information session at the Women's Club of Bethesda with dinner. And that was interesting because my wife was out of town on business. So I said, okay, I'll go check this out. Worst case scenario, at least I can get a free meal out of it. And I got there, and the way some things come together is like, this is meant to be. You introduce people that you were working with at the time, and two of the people you introduced was Phil and Pedro Webster. I was I worked part-time at Home Depot for 10 years. I was a part-time cashier. They used to come through my line all the time. I used to talk to them all the time.
I never knew that.
Yeah, so I saw them. Yeah. So I said, hey, I knew them, and then talked to you, took the class, and the rest is history.
That's
They
great.
stuck with me ever since.
Yeah, I never knew that. Yeah, that's been a while ago that we did those information seminars, and we certainly we did the radio show. And Phil and Pedro Webster, I did a number of deals with those guys. So I never knew that. That's great. And as you said, being a fireman, Gary is very humble. He my wife and I were downtown one afternoon, and we were by the White House, and we are kind of peeking behind the fence trying to get a look at the president and so forth. And there we see Gary in his big engine truck as the driver. So one of your roles is to drive that truck when the president comes into town. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, it's called foam and dry chemical truck. So basically, it's similar to what you see at the airports. If you ever see the fire trucks at the airports, it's the same thing. We have two of them in the DC Fire Department. And I mean, we do a variety of things, pretty much
Sure.
basically fuel spills, tanker spills, that type of stuff. But pretty much our prime function is anytime that the president, vice president travel by helicopter, then we have to go to the White House, we go to the vice president's residence, and we're on standby. So sometimes if you're watching the news, and when the president comes out and is speaking to the press and he's walking, you can see that you can see the fire truck in the background.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right. Well, I was very impressed with the friends we were with. They thought I knew everybody in Washington. that was great. How about hobbies? Tell people, we want people to get to know each other a little more in real estate, and some are in the WREIA, and sometimes with WREIA we come and go and we talk about real estate, but sometimes go a little deeper. So outside of putting out fires and protecting the president and real estate, what are some other things you like to do?
I like to travel. Actually, well, there's nothing going on right now, but
yeah,
like cruises. Me and one of my coworkers, we back in 1993, we started doing friends and family group trips, and we do them on average like every other year. We had one last year, and then good thing it wasn't this year. The next one is next 2021. So I like that, like sports. I'm a native Washingtonian, so I like all of the DC sports teams. I used to have season tickets to the Wizards, but now I have season tickets to the Nationals, so go to the Nationals games.
Good. So this question, since we're going through this coronavirus scare, obviously it's affecting all of our lives. Let's say this thing subsides in the next, whatever it is, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, come January of next year and cruise. No hesitation in going on the cruise, or kind of to be determined?
Not at all. But one thing I will do, because in the past, like for those that have been on cruises, you have like inside cabins, outside cabins, balcony cabins. From this, I will not get an inside cabin again, because the one thing I'm thinking about, when they got people quarantined on the ships, you can't leave your room, and now you in the inside room with no window. Like, no, that's not gonna work.
A lot of claustrophobia. Yeah, I was curious about that because obviously we're going to get through this. Hopefully all of us in good health. But I'm just, from an economic standpoint, obviously as real estate investors, we're all curious how long it will take for people to kind of get back in normal routine. Nobody knows, but I've never been. I've been on one cruise, not a big cruise person. I just wondered to myself, I wonder if all these folks are going to go back on cruises. But like you say, if you like to do it, you'll return and do it. So vacation spot, I guess that kind of answered that. Maybe a nice cruise to the Caribbean. Is that maybe a go-to, or maybe somewhere else?
But that's a go-to. But the other thing too is, and I guess I guess it ties in also your question, like 10 years from now, from doing the cruises and going to these different islands, a long-term vision that I have is to have a vacation rental property somewhere in the Caribbean, and somewhere where I can rent it out, but then it's available when myself or whoever we're ready to go down to.
So before asking for words for advice for new investors, going back to your retirement coming up, what does that look like? Are you going to maybe spend a little more time in the real estate arena, or do you have other ideas, or maybe just sit back and relax a little bit, or have you thought that far ahead? Just kind of have to get there first.
Well, no. When I retire, I mean, with the investing, investing is going to continue and probably ramp it up more. One of the things that I'm gonna look to do is actually get my excuse me, real estate agent license.
Okay.
And the reason why I haven't done it now is because for what I've been looking at classes, there's set times. Once you get involved in that process, it's a set time.
Sure.
And the dates fall over days that I work. So then what that would mean would be that I would have to try to find somebody to cover my shift for a few hours so I can go to a class.
Right.
And sometimes you get lucky and it's not a problem. Then sometimes it is. I said, I'll just wait until I don't have to worry about it anymore. Then I'll go ahead and get the license and then just kick the game up some more.
Okay, that sounds good. And then finally, kind of words we asked, members that have been around a while, went around the game a while. Any words of advice for new investors? At REIA, we have folks that come from information sessions, as you mentioned, I once did, and then certainly people from around the country come into town, and they encourage folks to come out to networking groups and REIAs, and they come in the room and they're kind of wide-eyed. But what's some words of advice that you'd give for someone starting out in real estate? And of course, real estate's so vast, so you don't know what area they're kind of interested in. But words of advice for maybe a new investor.
Well, like what you just said is to connect with your local REIA group. And back when in 2002, when I came across, started going to your meetings, I think there was only like maybe one other group in existence at that time. And see now in the DC area, it's a lot of groups. And I mean, I depending on my schedule, I go to as many as I can, because you have some people that all they do is they come up to Bethesda. You got some people that all they do is they're over in Oxon Hill or Upper Marlboro. So then if you're not going to these different groups, these are people you don't get a chance to meet and network with.
Sure.
And I know folks are new, and sometimes it could be, I guess, intimidating. That we'll say is to kind of, if you took the step to come to the meeting, get to know the people in the room. Because one thing I tell people, like on the fire department, there's a lot of people in the fire department that are investors, and a lot of them don't come, they don't network. And you have other people out there that are not willing to share information. And one thing that I found with pretty much all the investor clubs is that the people in the club are not afraid to share with you what they're doing. And, that helps, with bringing you along. If somebody's doing a project and you can just ask them, say, hey, can I come and look at what you're working on, what you're doing? And
But since we're profiling you as a member of the month, you would definitely say that Washington REIA is the best group.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, Gary, I appreciate it. And those of you that out there, as Gary said, networking is very important. To know a lot of different people, a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different strategies. There's a lot of information out there. So I'm teasing Gary, obviously, but I do also believe in networking and getting to know other people. Gary is a great resource. He's the reason Gary is typical that I love coming to the meetings because, as he said, he will share information with people. I've heard in the past people are intimidated sometimes walking to groups, but when you meet guys like Gary and other members, they'll put you at real ease. So Gary, if we want to get a hold of you, we'll definitely put this in print, obviously. But if they want to get a hold of you, just kind of bounce an idea off, or maybe they have a deal that they want you to take a look at. What's a good maybe a email or social media or contact number for you that we can throw out to folks?
Okay. Well, on social media, it's just under my name, Gary McKeithen. Definitely contact me, inbox me there. Phone number, they can call 202-607-7556. And my email is bucket, like regular bucket, operator at yahoo.com.
It's great.
And by all means, reach out to me. And the
Yeah.
other thing I want to say too, I want to say something about you real quick.
All right.
You know, I've been coming, so it's 2002, it's 2020, 18 years. And like you said, you got new members. And one thing I'll say about John is in 18 years, you have not changed. Your message has not changed. You know, things have changed, you know, circumstances, conditions, market conditions, whatever, but your whole method is always the same, man. Like I tell people about you, you know, sometimes I talk to people and I say, well, give John a call. And, you know, I don't know if they think you like the wizard or something, they're afraid to call you. I say, listen, this one to tell you about John. If you call John and the deal makes sense, he will be interested.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it doesn't make sense, I may tell you a thing or two why I don't think it makes sense. Is that fair?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that's fair.
And,
You've done that with me.
yeah. And
You
just
know?
to end on that, there's been times where I've told people that deal didn't make sense to me, and they went ahead and did it and did spectacularly well. So that's, again, it's sometimes just one man's opinion. There's different ways to look at these deals and different ways to place it. But I hear your dog in the background. That's good. Gary, thanks for spending some time with us. Obviously, you and your family take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Gary. Welcome, Washington WREIA family. Well, this has been quite the crazy few weeks. I really appreciate you joining me here for a few minutes. I recorded this yesterday when the weather was a little bit better. I came out to a local park, and I look forward to sharing with you some of these ideas that I have as we walk through this crazy time. Well, we do want to keep things as normal as possible. And if this is the first time that you have been joining us, welcome. And we start out every meeting by asking the audience how they're doing and respond great. Now, I can understand that maybe not all of you are feeling great, but let's start the meeting that way. Keep it normal. Maybe it'll give you a little bit of energy, a little bit of confidence as we move forward. So 1, 2, 3. How's everybody doing? Great. Well, good. Well, I'm again very happy that that you joined me. And as I said, I want to keep things kind of as normal as possible as we walk this. I got some great content for you here. The 4 pillars of Washington WREIA, the things that we kind of surround ourselves, whether we're in person or online, are the following. Number 1, education. We strive to give people practical information, things that they can use immediately in their business. So we're going to do that again here tonight. If you need anything, plumber, electrician, attorney, insurance broker, just reach out to us. Let us know, and we'll be happy to help you out with local resources that can help you in your business. Number 3, network. You've heard me talk about it for years and years. We've been meeting for 19 years, and we always talk about networking. Now is no different. We need to continue networking. Obviously, we're going to do more of that online and not in person, but continue to network, continue to build that database. It will help your business grow and thrive in the future. And then finally, number 4 is belief. And now we're talking about belief that, hey, the business is going to go forward. The coronavirus is going to pass. I'm not sure when. I don't think anyone does. But just belief that this real estate investment business will go on. People will need to live in homes and have shelter. So there's many, many different avenues of real estate investment. And belief is just surrounding yourself with the people that are active in the business, doing the things that you want to do. Feed off them, find out what they're doing, and basically do the same things. And you will have success in the business. So
I hope those things help you out a little bit. And if you need more information, just refer to our website. We'll be happy to talk to you more about those. Well, I hope, again, everyone enjoyed our member of the month. Reach out to Gary McKeithen. He's a great resource here in the Washington REIA community. So reach out to Gary. Hopefully you saw how he can help you, again, grow in your business. Again, the deal of the month. Enjoyed that. There were some bullet points on the bottom of education that if you just reach out to me, I'd be happy to talk to you more about that, about retail wholesaling, about financing, about all the different ways that we structure deals. So use that deal of the month. And again, reach out to me. Be happy to expand on some of those for you to give you a little more detail if you're experiencing one of those situations right now. So again, I hope you enjoyed the member of the month and the deal of the month. Well, let's talk about tonight. Let's talk about our content. I mentioned that I was going to give you 3 areas to help you really think about and focus on as we walk through this period of time. And again, none of us really know how long this will be, but it's certainly going to be for the foreseeable future. So the content tonight is based on experience, folks. I've been active in real estate investment for many, many years. I walked through 9/11, and in fact, 9/11, my mentor called me up the next day, who was traveling, and said, John, he said, anything you have, sell it as fast as you can. And I really suggest you really consider locating to a smaller city to continue your business. And that was his exact words. And again, I got off the phone and I contemplated even doing that. But again, I had a small family. I had a business. And one of the downsides of real estate sometimes is when you want to sell immediately, it's very hard to do. It's not like pushing a button on a stock or getting out of a bond mutual fund. So I didn't do that. And we continued to work through the issues of 9/11, and we came out on the other side. The Great Recession in 2008, that was a very, very challenging time for real estate investors, and it touched all of us. I had literally had 33 deals, active deals going on during that time that I had to walk through. Some of those were upside down. Some of those were hard money loans. Some of those were renovation projects. Some of those were partnerships, and we had to walk through that, and it was not easy. And we successfully did it. It caused some pain, no doubt. We didn't lose any properties, but we walk through it and we continue to learn and we continue to grow in the future. Now, I've been at this so long. I remember when I first got started, we were going through something called the Resolution Trust debacle. This was in the early to mid 90s. And it was, again, I was just starting out, so I didn't know any better. But walking into a bank and asking for money was non existent. Credit lines, non existent. We had to learn how to adapt. And fortunately, I was new, so I was open to all that. So, those of you that are listening to this and are brand new to real estate investment, or you've been considering getting into the game, folks, this might be the perfect time. You don't know any better. Use this time to get educated. Use this time to network. Use this time to build a database. Come out the other end raring to go, and you might find yourselves in a very, very good position like I've been for many, many years. So this content is based on experience. Folks, I've been talking to vendors. I've been talking to contractors. I've been talking to a lot of you, a lot of other investors, kind of getting their feedback, talking through different scenarios that might happen here. And I've come up with basically 3 areas of content that I think if you apply and really think about, I think they will help you a great deal as we walk through this coronavirus. So let's get started. The first one is, and maybe the most important, is basically our mental health. Folks, I can tell you from experience, when we go through these disruptions in the real estate market, the biggest challenge that we have many times is just protecting our mental health. It's easy to get down on ourselves. It's easy to look around our surroundings and go, this is just not going to work. And those of you that have got laid off, those of you that have got hours cut, those of you in different industries that have just been decimated in the last few weeks, I understand it is very, very difficult to keep a mental attitude of going forward. And folks, I've been through those times. I've been through those times when I've looked around, and I'm going through it right now where you're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of many, many years of work that could all go down the tubes. Folks, this is affecting me like it's affecting you. I have 2 big commercial tenants, one restaurant, obviously we know what's happening with them, another concert promoter that literally the next 7 to 10 events have been canceled. There's no revenue coming in. And the big tenants of mine that provide cash flow for my family and my business. And when they cannot pay me rent, obviously I still have to pay some mortgages and different things. I have others that are calling, figuring out how I can work things out. So this is affecting all of us. So we really have to guard our mental health. How do we do that? Number one, I think we stay away from media overload. I'm not saying not to look at the news, read articles, read newspapers, however you get your media. You got it. Don't overload it. Don't panic. Focus on the CDC, Center for Disease Control out of Atlanta. Listen to what they're saying and try to make plans based on what they're calling for. And again, they're calling for a period of time where this is going to escalate, but eventually it will pass. So, number one, don't media overload, folks. It can really, really mess you up and get you in a state of panic where you're not able to do anything. Number two is guard against malaise. And what I mean by that is don't treat this like a long spring break. Don't treat this like a snow day where sometimes we just stay in our pajamas all day and watch movies. You really got to guard against that. And I think the way you do that is to continue a routine. Now, again, some of you are coming from a part-time basis. You have full-time work and you're working from home. But if that's your case, during those times where you used to work on real estate, that part-time hours, 10, 15 hours a week, whatever it was for you, maintain those, commit to those, work on your business. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in a little while. You full timers, hey, let's get up at the same times. I get up generally at 6:15, 6 to 6:30 every day. I get up, I take a shower, I get dressed, and I plan my day. You want to do the same things. Don't lie in bed until 10 o'clock. Don't watch movies all day. Don't just sit and kind of have this malaise. Have a routine. There's things that you can work on, as I'll talk to you here in a minute. So keep that routine. It's very, very important. And I think that will help you with your mental health. Number two, something very basic, and as I do this video, I know I need to do more of, is exercise. Let's continue. If you're already an exercise a person, continue that routine. Get outside. No one's stopping you from taking a run or a hike or a walk or playing basketball, for that matter, playing golf. Whatever you do to get a little bit of exercise, it's going to help your mental health. If you don't exercise, this might be a good time to start. And as I say, as I'm doing this video, I certainly got to do a little bit more too. But it's a good time to do that. It will help your stress. It will release you. Nature has a way, and that's why I like to be outside, has a way of kind of rejuvenating you, giving you hope, giving you feeling that, hey, this too is going to pass and we're going to move on. Our businesses are going to be able to move on. So outside of keeping a routine, guard against malaise, exercise, you also want to focus in on education. Now, focusing back on exercise, let me step back a minute. We also got to relax a little bit, right? Listen to some music, get outside of your daily activities with business. Like I said, listen to music, watch a good movie, watch some TV shows you want to catch up. I know Ozark season 3 is coming out, a series that I've enjoyed. I know a lot of you have. Watch that, binge on that, get away from the daily stresses and enjoy yourself a little bit, the best that you can. There's all sorts of things going online to help you with that. And then finally, in the mental health aspect, this is a tremendous time to grow, tremendous time to get educated. Folks, if there's something in your business that you've been wanting to do, learning about self-directed IRAs, learning about raising private capital, learning another strategy that you haven't employed in a while, do it now. There's so many resources online to help you with that. Read a book on it, go to a blog on it, go to a pod, talk to me about it. Any way you get your information, let's use this time to get educated. Like I said before, if you're brand new to the business, what better time with this free time that you have now to get educated on real estate investment? It literally could change your life. It literally, you could come out of this. Maybe you've been laid off from a restaurant, but use this time to get investment. We come out of this and you're raring to go. You surrounded yourself with good people that have good intentions for you, that can help you. And folks, this could literally be the little push that you needed in order to get involved in real estate investment. So I hope that helps on the mental health side. Folks, listen to me. This comes from experience. Do not allow yourself to wallow. Do not allow yourself to isolate. Do not allow yourself to have negative thoughts all the time. Make sure that you are guarding against that. Have a routine, exercise, listen to music, read, get educated. And that will help you walk you through this time that we're experiencing right now. Now, let's move on to number two. This is something, too, that is hard to do sometimes when we're walking through times of uncertainty here that we are, and I've titled this, Say Yes to Opportunities. Say yes to opportunities. What do I mean by that? Well, folks, I've gotten calls and texts, and I'm sure many of you have too over the past few weeks. And they come at, are you still lending? Are you still buying properties? What are you doing to continue growing your business? And my simple answer when people say, are you buying properties? My answer is yes, of course, as long as the numbers work. And I'm looking at those options. I made 2 offers last week, and you can do that again, either online or in person, depending on your comfort level. So say yes to opportunities. This past Great Recession, I was begging a couple of my long-term investors to start buying some long-term rental properties. We had a goal of 100 properties. Now we started 2 years late. It took me 2 years to get them. They put together a little bit of a fund, and we ended up buying low 20s properties. Folks, literally those properties have doubled in value in the last 6 or 7 years. Was an opportunity that might be coming again. Maybe owners are looking to get out of the real estate investment business. Maybe the renters aren't paying them anymore. Maybe they're ready to exit for a lot of different reasons. So there are opportunities in these times, and we need to say yes, even though it's scary, even though we're like, gosh, well, how are we going to sell these properties? We can't even visit these properties. How are we going to renovate them? How are we going to find tenants if nobody has any jobs? Folks, just say yes. Start looking at them. Start analyzing them like you would do in any kind of market. They will be some opportunity. This is also an opportunity to say yes and reach out to different vendors, different suppliers. You want to be networking during this time to look for opportunities. Maybe this is a time with one of your suppliers to a 30, 60, 90-day payment plan to keep your business going. Maybe you talk to your contractors about either taking a little bit less, if they can work now, or paying them when the project is done. So there's lots of different ways that we can maneuver this. Also, if you have a database, if you have a list of maybe properties that you made offers on 4 months ago, 6 months ago, reach back out to those people. Maybe they're now ready to say yes. Maybe note holders, either performing or non-performing note holders. Maybe this coronavirus has shocked them into reality where they're like, hey, we need to sell. So if you reach out to those note holders and now can buy that note at a level you can make it work, where you could restructure underperforming note, this could be the opportunity waiting for us. So to opportunity. Sounds simple and it's scary sometimes when we don't know what's going on around us, but this is when literally you can open up your business, make them forward. Folks, business is going onward. Now, again, it is definitely slow. I put a house on the market last Thursday, and I've had literally 10 showings and possibly, don't have them in hand yet, but possibly 2 to 3 offers on that property. So things are moving forward. So you need to be in the game. You need to continue moving forward with your business. So mental health, say yes to opportopportunities. And number 3 is, folks, and I know you know this, money is on sale. Money is on sale. The Federal Reserve lowered the federal funds rate to 0.25 to zero, literally zero as a federal funds rate. And it might even go lower. What does that mean? Well, that means that in theory, if economics hold true, and they're not holding true exactly to form right now, but long-term rates on mortgages will go down. Rates on credit cards will go down. Rates on lines of credit will go down. If you have a property, rental property, commercial property, your personal residence that you can refinance right now, reach out to your servicer, your current mortgage company. Ask them about a streamlined refinance. See if there's an opportunity to garner more cash flow right now. I'm in the middle of one on a commercial property in Alexandria where I might be able to shave off another $250, $300 of positive cash flow every single month. That's worth doing. Money could be on sale. Now, this is no hurry. This will take some time, meaning that this money will be on sale for the foreseeable future. So you don't have to run out necessarily tomorrow, but take a look at those things. This also might be a time to talk to your bank about extending credit lines, maybe raising them a little bit so you can get through the short time. Remember, and I'll come back to this, cash is king. Having the availability of credit and cash right now to survive, right? To survive this disruption is important so we can come out on the other side and take advantage of some opportunities. So reach out to those lenders, reach out to those credit card companies, extend credit, and if you can, hoard a little bit of cash, whatever that is and whatever that means. Because remember, renters now, to answer a few questions, renters might not be able to pay you for a month or two. Well, you need to reach out to your mortgage lenders to see if there's any kind of structure where maybe you can only pay interest
for the next month or two, or maybe you could suspend or delay a payment for a little bit of time. So now's not, again, the time to recoil and to go inward. It's to go outward. It's to take advantage of some of these opportunities. And money is definitely on sale. And as I said, cash is king. That leads me to this final thing. This might be the perfect time to understand, learn, and educate yourself on how to create a private bank. You've heard me talk about this for many, many years. There is a process to go out and raise private capital. Think about it. A lot of folks, you included, I'm sure, and myself also, have probably been hurt in the stock market meltdown. We don't know where that's going to bottom out. But there are people out there that have capital, that have cash, and having access to that right now is the most important thing that you can do because there will be opportunities. So, understanding how to create this private bank can really, really be helpful. And I have a very, very complete method, the process step by step that I can help you with. So, if you want to learn how to create this private bank, raise capital, folks, imagine coming out of this, whether it takes 2 months, 6 months, a year, however long it is, and there will be pain. There will be a lot of economic pain. But imagine coming out of it and having access to 5, 7, $10 million available capital for you to go out and look for opportunities. Think of what that can do to your business. And you want to start planting those seeds now. You want to start this process now. So if it's something that you want to learn more about, and I have a very simple guide, step-by-step process to help you with, I'm more than happy to help you with that. Go ahead and either text me, email me, and just put the word on top, consulting. Just put consulting on there, and I will get you some information about creating a private bank. And now is the time to do it. You experienced investors, if you already have lenders, capital lenders out there, now's not the time to be shy. I understand that you may owe them some interest payments, but they may have to work with you. But talk to them, see if they can expand their ability to lend you more cash as you come out of this crisis, out of this disruption. That will give you the dry powder, if you will, to go out and really be aggressive and really find some opportunities that could maybe make this year one of your best years ever. So again, I hope some of those things. I'm going to end here with a few questions that have been coming into me over the course of the week. But I want to recap. I want you to, number one, really understand, number one, that we're all going through this. No one is immune. Sure, if you're a billionaire, or if you're a professional athlete and you're sequestered in your mansion for 2 weeks, it might not feel as bad as a restaurant worker that's living paycheck to paycheck. But believe me, we're all going through this. Guard your mental health. Stay away from malaise. Don't get lazy. Keep a routine. Get some education. Listen to some music. Relax. Enjoy this time a little bit away from maybe the hustle and bustle of day-to-day life. Say yes to opportunities. Don't shy away. Don't recoil. Don't isolate yourself. Network hard. Look for opportunities and say yes. And when I say yes, I say yes to the opportunity. You don't have to commit to buy the house, but be open to more business. Be open to things that are going around you because it is happening and people are doing deals. And then finally, money is on sale, and that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. Money is going to be on sale, so it might be the time to refinance. It might be the time to extend a credit line. It might be time to apply for a credit line. It might be time to expand your credit cards. Anything you can do to have available credit, right, at cheap rates is a good thing for small business owners. And then maybe most importantly, you need to have the ability to have access to credit and cash. And now is a great time to learn how to create more opportunities through having a private bank, having cash available. Remember, this is not your cash. This is people with capital that have to deploy it. And they might be nervous about deploying it more into the stock market now than ever before. So if you can offer them an attractive rate or a partnership, and you go out and you find these opportunities for them, they'll be forever grateful. And it could make you extremely happy and wealthy here in the next 6 months to a year. So I hope that helps. Now, to end this up with some questions that I've been getting about, what about if my renters can't pay? Well, folks, I kind of addressed that in a sense that you're going to have to work. If you have a mortgage, you're going to have to work out with your renters. Try to work with them. Maybe they can pay you a little bit this month. Talk to your bank. Maybe you can only pay interest for a month, or you could suspend or delay a payment. People have asked, what about contractors? They're still working on your properties. Well, what we're doing is, yes, we are still continuing to work until everything shuts down. We are limiting people coming into the houses kind of one at a time. So we're getting the painting done, then we're getting, the kitchen cabinets in. So we're walking through it. Yes, we've slowed down a little bit, but we're still progressing forward. Some things like getting permits and getting inspections. Well, folks, all that is going to be slowed down. Talk to your local jurisdictions and see what they have in place. And if it's shut down, it's shut down. So you got to use this time to do other things. Understand, if you can finish projects and list them, there are people out looking for houses, people that have maybe jobs in stable industries, and they're taking advantage of this money on sale, and they are making some offers. So there's a lot of questions thrown around. I can't answer them all. Feel free to reach out to me. I know these are uncertain times. If you want to vent, if you want to brainstorm, if you need some more information on creating a private bank, or anything else that we've talked about today, I encourage you right now to let us know, and we'll be happy to reach out and help you. Folks, let's stay safe. That's the most important thing. Let's keep moving forward. I appreciate so much for you joining me, and I look forward to continuing to working with you as we all walk through this coronavirus virus. Take care, and I will see you soon.
Well, there we go. I hope you all enjoyed that. I tell you what, it's a little bit hard for me to see myself on screen. I certainly got to take a little bit more of my own advice and get exercise a little bit. But I hope you enjoyed that. We have had some questions come in, and I just want to spend a few minutes with you. If you do have any more questions, you can submit those on Facebook or YouTube. One of the questions that came across live there that I wanted to address immediately, because it's very important, is about credit lines. About some of us have credit lines with banks, maybe an equity line of credit on a rental property, our own home, or maybe an unsecured line. I have one with Wachovia. And the question was, like back in 08, 09, the bank started cutting some of these credit lines. In other words, they basically shut them off. I do have a friend in Denver that owns a bakery, actually, and I just found out today that they did cut off a line for him, which is going to be really tough for him. So the answer to that question is, and you kind of answered your own question, is that I'm sure you will hear about different lines of credit being cut off. So if that's the case, if that's what you're thinking, how do you go about that? Is you go ahead and you take that money now. Take that money out. You're going to pay a little interest on it, but if you need access to that capital for the short term, for the next 2 or 3 months, that might be a wise decision. You can always pay it back. Back in 08, I had a couple properties down, I still own them, down in South Carolina, and we did that very thing. We took the lines because we were afraid that they were going to shut us down, and we used that money to guide us through some of those rockier months during that Great Recession. So not a bad strategy. If you're nervous about your banks taking or cutting off some of your lines of credit, you might want to tap those. You can always pay it back, but a month or two of interest probably will not hurt you. So that's a great question. Other questions that we had, I also got some good input from some folks about just kind of the mental health aspect of it. A few people mentioned, and I've seen it on my email throughout the course of the week, and you should tap. I'm sure you're getting some of the same emails or some of the same resources. Is again, we all do also have to kind of step back, enjoy ourselves a little bit, meaning be sure to take some time to watch some good movies, read some good books, and understand that some of this will pass. Well, we appreciate that too, Terry. Thanks for commenting. I hope a lot of you did enjoy this. Thanks, Gregory, Sylvia. My knowledge and guidance. Well, I'm not sure about my guidance, but I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to some of the things I say. I do believe some of those things are important. Like I said, we have to get ready for when this thing ends. There are going to be some opportunities. In fact, I looked at a property today. They were asking, started out at $250. Now this was an estate down in Fort Washington, needed quite a bit of work. And now we're talking in the 210 range, 205 range. So again, sellers are going to become a little more anxious to sell. Now, as investors, we have to be we have to be cognizant that the market might shift a little bit. So we have to make sure that our buys right now are good buys, right? Are good buys. Regina, I see on the screen, it's now still a good time to buy a rental property. I think the answer to that is yes, as long as the numbers work. You might want to put a little more cushion in for finding a good solid renter. Because remember, a lot of these folks, and I'm sure there's people watching this right now that are having hours cut, that are having layoffs. Marriott just announced that they're furloughing, thousands of employees for 90 days. So if that furlough occurs, which it is, and they get their health benefits, if in 90 days they come back on board and they start getting their salaries back, this might just be a temporary pause. Sure, it takes a little bit of time to ramp everything up. We don't just immediately get back to a roaring economy. But if you can weather some of that, Regina, I absolutely would buy that rental property as long as the numbers are solid. So you don't want to do any close deals. I'm sorry, I get a little distracted. This is new for me. It's having these comments come in. Gloria asked, should I still think of wholesaling? Absolutely. Think about wholesaling for a minute. Your risk there is you're putting up a few dollars to control that contract. And during that time of control, you're out looking, right, for that ultimate buyer, either another renovator that's going to go ahead and buy it, fix it and sell it, or you're looking for someone that might want to hold it as a long-term rental, or in some cases, you're looking for an end buyer. So Gloria, absolutely. As long as you can find good, solid deals, right? And you can control those for a period of time, absolutely look for good wholesale deals. In fact, when you get a good wholesale deal, hopefully you're gonna pick up the phone and you're gonna call me, because we're still looking to buy, and we're still looking for good deals. Gary, Section 8 is a good option to consider. Absolutely. Gary was highlighted tonight. He's a member of WREIA for many years. I learned a few things about Gary tonight that I didn't know. I didn't know he was such an avid cruiser. That's great. And his question is, or his comment is about Section 8. That's a government program, obviously subsidy that they can pay your rent. And as long as the government keeps functioning, which hopefully they will, those rent checks should come in. So that's a good comment there, Gary. If you're looking for a rental, to maybe combine that with a good Section 8 tenant. All these are great. Anything else people got on their minds? Talked about mental health. We talked about the money on sale. One comment on that I did make, that as I've been thinking through it a little bit more, this is not a rush to go out and necessarily refinance. Remember, this is going to go on for a while, meaning the Fed is not going to raise rates 90 days from now. The good chance that the federal funds rate will be down around zero for the balance of the year. So you do have time, okay? You do have time to refinance maybe your own personal home, maybe a rental property. So you don't have to necessarily run out. I had an appraisal in Alexandria a few weeks ago. We were in the middle of a refinance of a property we own down there, and the appraiser told me he's literally booked for 6 weeks. So there are some people in our economy that are very, very busy. So he has been so busy with the refinances that he has literally been busy for 6 weeks. All right, with non-essential business closing, will this affect real estate closing? The answer to that, from what I understand, is no. I've gotten a few emails from a couple different title companies that, believe it or not, title companies and that surrounding the mortgage business is essential. It falls under the financial services section of the essential businesses, like banks, mortgage brokerages, things of that nature. So title companies are considered to be essential. So most of them are up and running. They did mention, and a couple different ones said that they're going to have split closings. And what split closings essentially means is they're going to have the buyer come in at one point, and they're going to have the seller to come in at another point. So they are up and running. So as far as I know, the real estate business should be functioning. It's going to be a little slow, I think, but I do think it's going to be functioning. Lamb O'Brien, is a great time to purchase houses subject to. If your tenant buyer can't pay rent, at least your credit is not on the line. Well, that's true. If you come across subject to deals where you can take what I call quietly assuming the mortgage, that can be a good strategy too. Another question: why not wait to buy in a few months when there are going to be foreclosures? When tenants are not paying, the landlords will sell for much lower prices, not to go into foreclosure. Joanne, you could be right. You could be right. But most people, most folks can hang out, if you will, for a couple months. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that. But you're right. There could be some opportunities there where folks need to sell some properties to raise some cash, raise some capital. So we will see. That's the thing. No one really knows how long this process is going to be for this coronavirus to go through, quote unquote, our society. So, but that is true. That is why I said when you said a few months, that's why I said right now, a good focus might be to get ready. And how do we get ready for that? Well, one thing we get ready for is through creating private banks, through creating access to capital. Some of your own capital if you have it, if not, access to other people's capital that are willing to come in when you find a good deal, a good foreclosure, a good rental, put up that capital for short term. You go in, you do that deal, you renovate it, you sell it, you renovate it, you get a tenant, you refinance it, but you have that capital in order to in order to take advantage of those opportunities. That's what you want to focus in. And as I said on my video, if you're interested in getting more information, talk to me more about how to create a private bank. This is how I've raised money for years. And I had to, because as I said in the video, the resolution trust dilemma when I first got started forced us to. So if you're interested in that, you can contact me. Just put consulting in the tagline and we will get ready to go. All right. Any suggestions on how to pitch people with probate properties nervous about showing their property? Well, it depends. It depends, Roger, as far as what the situation is. Now, if there a lot of probate properties are vacant, okay, so you could arrange to get a key, picked up from them, and you could go visit the property on your own. You wouldn't necessarily have to have a chaperone if they're nervous about getting out. You could do a drive-by, certainly, and you could, if you're experienced, and I know, Roger, you are, you could probably get a pretty good idea of the condition of that property. You can make an offer right now contingent on you taking a look inside. So you could do like a 60-day settlement with the idea that you have the ability to take a look inside. So, that's a possibility. There are going to be some people that are just going to shut down and aren't going to do anything in the next 30 to 60 days. And, you just got to work with them on an individual case. Victor, what about doing major renovations? Are DCR's government home inspectors considered essential services? I don't know the answer to that. I do not know the answer to that. From what I got today from a couple different sources is that under the essential services for Maryland now, this is Maryland, and I'm sure DC and Virginia are going to be similar. A lot of the contractor trades, a lot of the building development trades are still allowed to go to work. It specifically said, and I can send this to you if you email or text me, but it essentially said roofers, painters, carpenters, appraisers, people around the housing industry, contractors and so forth, property managers can still do those services, can still work on a day-to-day basis. So I'm guessing, obviously, renovations in DC will fall under that same guideline, but we'll have to see. And again, that's an easy phone call, Victor. We can just call up DCRA and find out what their mode of operation is, and are they still, working with developers as we do renovations. All right. Anybody else have any comments or questions while we're on here? Again, back to the private bank, if I can help you with that, or also anything with the deal of the month. We had a lot of little different things with that deal, a lot of 203K, wholesaling, generating good leads. There's a lot of little different educational tidbits there that if you need some help, certainly let me know. All right. Well, here we go. Lama Bryant, in Virginia, all courts are closed until April 6th. Are you sure title closings can take place? Yes, I am. There are certain times in the courts where they're allowing mortgages to be recorded. That's what I've been told by a couple different title attorneys. Again, this is a day-to-day thing, Lama. So we have to check with the people in charge. But from what I've been told, the courts are functioning in order to keep the housing market kind of slower, but at least moving along. Greg and Sylvia, what's the lowest amount to lend as a private bank? Okay, so generally, it depends on the investor, and depends on your comfort level with the first or second mortgage. But then generally in private bank, you're talking probably a minimum of 25. That's probably in the low end, 25, 50, 75, $100,000. That's probably the low end if you want to be on the lending side. So again, if you have the ability to have maybe some IRA money that you're looking to lend, great way to increase that, or maybe some private capital that you're looking to lend that you don't want to be stuck in the stock market for foreseeable future. There are opportunities to lend some of that money. Now, at $25,000 or $50,000, most likely will be about will most likely be a second mortgage, will be a renovation component for a deal. Now, as long as the numbers work and as long as the loan to values work, that money can be secured and you can be fine and make good return on your capital. Be happy to help you with that if you have any more questions. All right, anybody else? Well, this was exciting. This was maybe a little silver lining in all this chaos. We've been wanting to do this for quite a long time. Again, I have a lot to share with you, and I think my wife and sons get a little tired of me talking about real estate all the time. So hopefully this can be a component for going forward, so I can share a few more things with you. Gerald Seegers, well, there's a season issue by the lender when you sold the 203K house. There generally, Gerald, as you know, with an FHA loan, you generally have to own it for 3 months. In this case, that did not come up, but we did own the house for more than 3 months. So the answer to your question is yes, I believe it's still going to fall under the FHA guidelines on a flip. So more than likely, you're going to have to own the house for a few months. But again, in this particular case, we were going into this house with the intent of renovating it. So we began doing our permits, we began doing our drawings, we began doing some light demo, things of that nature. And, that's when this kind of came about, and we pivoted toward that. But even if it is that 3-month holding time that FHA requires, there still can be some really nice profit there for the 203K buyer and you. So everyone kind of wins in that situation. So I saw the screen go up there. So if you want to get in touch with me, a lot of you know, you can text me 301-943-5535. Certainly text consulting. Be happy to help you with anything you have, or profitableproperty@gmail.com. Folks, if you like this, I would appreciate comments. Hopefully more good comments than bad comments. We do appreciate it. It'll help us kind of expand this reach a little bit, so we can talk to a little bit more people as we kind of walk through this coronavirus. Folks, stay safe, stay healthy. I know everyone is kind of dealing with this in their own way. I know it can be incredibly stressful. I'm here. Please reach out if I can help you in absolutely any way. If you just want to chat about a deal, or chat about a scenario, maybe brainstorm something, or if you just want to vent. I mean, this is a stressful time, so we all need to stay connected, and we all need to be together on this thing. Jim, we appreciate it. Virtual meetings. Hopefully you're doing okay there in Denver, and we will see you all soon. Cindy, good to hear from you. Glad you joined us. Stay safe, and thank you for that. Thanks, Regina. Appreciate it. Reach out to me if you need anything. Be happy to help you with that rental property. I know you've been looking for some good deals there for a while, so now could be a good time. So remember, folks, this could be a catalyst for a great year. Maybe it doesn't feel that way right now, because I think we're right in the middle of it, but it could turn out to be a great opportunity for us, if you will, to move our business forward. We have to survive, right? We have to, short term, we have to survive this, and we have to get through it. But hopefully we'll be able to do that and move forward. So thank you for all the comments. I really appreciate it. I know we can do this a little bit better, and we will. And we do appreciate you helping us out with all your suggestions and comments. And we look forward to seeing you soon. So everyone, have a great night. We'll be in touch. Reach out to me if you need me, and we'll see you very soon.